Hi, I'm Ben Molini, and I'm the Dungeon Master for the Duststorm, the role playing game that you're about to watch. We're using the Bonsai system for this game, which is our own proprietary system. It's based off of Pathfinder by Paizo, and it's been built and play tested by us for the past 10 years or so. So, this is the first published project for our organization, Ethos Studios. We're very excited about it, and we're going to be creating a lot more RPG content over the next few years, and we hope you'll check us out at our website. This is a story that takes place within a dark and fallen world. It got that way because of long D&D campaigns from many years past, and those stories will be told another time, hopefully as a part of our ongoing narratives. In those campaigns, things did not end up going well for my poor players. They strove, and they struggled, and they did their best, but the good guys don't win it every time. And one of the most important things to me as a dungeon master is that win or lose, events have consequences. And in this case, one of those consequences was a terrible cataclysm that was basically apocalyptic for this world. So the stories that I tell now take place after that, in a world that was once a sunny, high fantasy realm. This is the story of two people, half-siblings from very different mothers who are out to try to make that world just a little bit better if they can. I hope you enjoyed the Duststorm, and thanks for watching this production of Ethos Studios. Okay. So you guys are doing your best, hustling away from the storm. It's hard not to keep looking over your shoulder as you see that wall of darkness flickering with flashes of lightning internally from time to time, just slowly and ominously closing the distance. As it gets closer to you, it's moving slowly from your perspective, which just makes you reevaluate the scale of the thing. That is just this wall of darkness and harshly swirling dust, literally miles high. Um, so it's continuing to follow you on the horizon, as you guys are, of course, I think you mentioned keeping your eyes out for a place to take shelter. Kira, I sent you a little note based on your perception check.
Um, I see some flashes of lightning or something. But
Where? In the storm?
in front of
Shamar
that,
said,
there's a small rise.
Shamar points up ahead as she says that. Like, says, sees some flashes of lightning, but like she's pointing up ahead and off to your right. There's a little
Hey.
rise that you can't quite see over, but like when she points that out, you
That's
can actually see, there's like in the gathering gloom, there are a couple of like, it looks like just flickers of kind of silvery white light
Are there
coming
two
from
storm fronts?
not on the horizon. I mean, this looks like, might be 100 yards in front of you, maybe.
As soon as she points, that's where I'm gonna like continue my trot, but kind of like no. Sorry, go ahead.
That'll take you off the road. You okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna kind of be like, she points without any like verbal confirmation or anything. Just that's where I'm going.
Okay. Shamara, Orden, just as you say that, you're like, there's some lightning. He just turns, beelines off the road, up that rise.
Okay. Uh, she hesitates for a second, but then hustles to catch up to him. Like,
Okay.
you want to go towards the lightning?
Yeah. All right.
So real. It's not lightning you're seeing, correct?
I'm seeing
It's not.
like flashes of lightning. Like
What
flashes of
looks
like
like
what
that,
looks like lightning, like white light.
right? But not like
Oh.
bolts coming down from the sky or anything, but just like on the far side of the rise, like flickering silvery white flashes.
Well, something's going on over there, and looking back behind me, and I'd rather not wait for that.
Okay.
All right. So, these are weird. Um, okay. So you guys hustle that way. Both of you make perception checks again.
Perception. The drama of the die going. Oh no, man.
Yeah.
Ranch.
Let's see. Make sure. There we go. All right. So you guys hustle up over that rise, and you don't even have to get all the way to the top. You know, Shamara being much bigger and a little bit taller, you see first something that is strange and immediately fills you with some sense of alarm and much more dread. Neither one of you knows very much about the being known as the Archon that some people in different parts of the world have turned to in desperation. Some people consider it to be a god, but it is often, its energy is instantly recognizable as this kind of strange, crackling, silvery white light. As you guys crest this rise, though, you see past a couple of just rocks and dead trees, pretty close in front of you, maybe, 100, 150 feet or something like that. There's a figure, like a humanoid figure, stout and broad, and it's either incredibly well built or maybe armored underneath some fur. You can see a bald head retreating as this figure backs away from two creatures that are very difficult to understand. At first glance, they defy description. They look like collections of bones that are in varying. Okay. Shamar would be familiar with a lot of standard types of undead, and these don't look like any of them. They are like 4 legs of varying lengths. It looks like they came from varying types of creatures. Some of them have decayed down to the bone, and they are like segmented down so these things are walking on 4 spaced out legs that have a knee that goes up and then a foot that comes down, the different types of feet. And then they just look like some chaotic amalgamation of bones, each one with a skull on top of it, which seems to be directing things as it is illuminated with kind of a corona of that very distinctive silvery white con energy. And they are pursuing this bald-headed fellow with his back to you, as he's got a weapon in his hand and he's backing away in what looks like some substantial amount of fatigue and potentially.
Is the Archon energy coming from him?
No, not that you can see. Let's put that on the map here. Just activate that as you guys come up. This, this rise there. All right, so you do not certainly have to fight or anything, but they are fighting, so we're going to begin a combat here. And just so we can keep very close track of who is who and what's going on, let me have you guys in there with some turns. Let's do that. Do that. Okay. Nice. Okay. So both of you roll initiative. Both of these.
Okie doke. This will, of course, all get faster as we learn our characters more.
Yeah, everybody's too.
Dex.
Man,
tough start here, Ranch.
I'm okay. It's cool, dude. It's cool. It's cool.
Have you? Wait a second.
That's 3 already.
3 ones.
3 ones.
It's conservation of greatness. It's okay. You're just getting them out of the way.
Dude, I'm saving it.
Making room for 20s later. Good job.
Easy. I'm not stressed. Why would I be stressed?
Get them out of the way now. You're doing great.
All right. So, as you guys, crest the rise, just a pretty short distance behind this figure, your initiatives, and I'm going to have to update them manually because we don't have stuff loaded in. What is your initiative total there, Ranch?
Well, it's so for a natural 1, it's
just a 1. For initiative, it's a 1.
Oh, okay. Then 3.
3. Okay. And Kira, what's yours?
It was, let's see, 11.
Okay. All right. Well, these
Privately rolled
creatures.
some dice. That's cool.
Here I can. There we go. I'm in this interface a little better. You can see your rolls and the initiative order. All right. So yeah, as you crest this rise, those sort of shambling monstrosities dart forward, crab-like on those strangely articulated limbs. They just scurry forward, and one of them has a mostly decayed spine that's holding up like just the skull, and that skull kind of chattering like darts forward at this figure defending itself. Is yeah, so it just technically charges it, and okay. And the figure has what looks like just a broad, thick, steel-rimmed wooden shield. Just batters it away as that head darts down, almost bird-like. Okay. Then the other one does the same, also charging in. Straight line. Roll closer. You can see just in the still and comparatively clear air that he's got the broad frame and stocky shoulders and wide build of a dwarf, which are not often seen in these times, since the dwarves closed up their cities after the cataclysm. Anyway, he just kind of takes another chattering skull trying to bite through his neck, just takes it on his shoulder, which must be armored there under the furs for him to absorb that blow. Then Shamara, it's your turn.
Okay, I will charge forward. Let's see. So, if I charge, I get 2, right? Max movement
You
action.
double your
Sorry.
speed and attack at the end of it. That's a charge. If you just take a run action, so full round action, you can move 4 times your speed. You can only be in a straight line. You do not get to attack at the end of it, and you do provoke attacks of opportunity.
Before this happens, I'm gonna look over and look at the storm.
It's coming up on you.
So you take the right, I'll take the left.
Heard, brother. Let's do it.
Okay.
Well,
3 seconds. 3.
I will. Yes, I'll charge that. I mean, I will run up and like just kind of get my shield ready and like get ready for the thing to attack me. Like just like run up with that the intent to like use up like it's just
Get there. Is that right?
go. Yeah.
Okay. Not taking the cautious approach. Gotcha. So with all right, so 4 times your speed would be you're at 30 feet even when you're loaded up. Okay, so you can easily.
No, I'm at 20 feet. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, because I have. I forgot to
You're
put
at
my
medium
mace
load, right?
in my equipment, and I wasn't willing to put down the rations that I had bought. So until I eat those rations, I'm at medium load.
So Shamara just charges forward. Heedless of the danger, just rushes to the aid of that dwarf, and in doing so, provokes an attack of opportunity from this monstrosity on the right. What is your AC there, Shamara?
It is. My AC is 18.
Okay. So, go. Oof. And as you rush up there, unable to, like, you kind of skid in the dust, and before you can get your shield and weapon up in any kind of a guard, you're still, like, fumbling for them as one of those monstrosities. It's honestly not that big compared to you. It comes up a little bit over your waist, but it just darts forward, snapping its skull, chattering towards you, honestly, sort of like a scorpion tail. And it crashes into your torso with kind of shocking force, considering there's no visible muscle behind it, and it's just that archaic energy that's animating the thing. You take... Where are we? We go? Okay.
If I could take it back, I guess I could have gone here and gotten ready for the next turn instead.
Yeah, so you were in a hurry. Okay. We only take 2 damage. So the armor absorbs most of it. But you get to the side of that dwarf who just staggers, startled, not understanding who just came up beside him. Then
That should give you some space to retreat. My brother's
Me?
coming too.
okay. He's confused, clearly doesn't know what's going on. He just raises his shield up, takes a 5-foot step back, and just protects himself. He starts to splutter. Do you speak Dwarven by any chance?
No, I don't think so. No.
So he just starts to kind of grumble slash shout something in his own language. He's obviously completely disoriented with you running up there, and he doesn't acknowledge what you said. But he just, raises his guard and honestly directs it toward you as well. And then it's Orden's turn.
All right. I don't want the cone.
Not the ruler.
Yeah. So, yep, that's exactly where I'm gonna go. Can I go through the bush there though? I guess that's the only question.
You can, move through the tree.
Okay, yeah. Then I would choose to go right up to his side.
Okay, gotcha.
And during this turn, like my greatsword, right? It hasn't been out. Is that gonna cost? I won't be able to pull that out this round, correct?
What's your base attack bonus? Oh, we don't have base attack bonus.
Don't do that.
Do you have at least a +1 style bonus with 2-handed swords?
Yeah, bro. You know I do.
Yeah, bro.
Then so the rule in Pathfinder that we've adapted is that if you have at least a +1 non-ability score bonus from that, then you can draw the weapon as part of a move. But if you aren't moving, it is still a move equivalent action to draw it. So yes, you can draw it while running.
All right, then that's what I'd like to do, and then move right up next to him.
Gotcha. All right. So as this guy is like wheeling to face Shamara, and just puts his shield up, just like grumbling something unintelligible in his own language, as Orden comes up on the other side, he just kind of whirls back that way. Just some inarticulate shout of surprise and displeasure, but there is not time to explain to him as these things come forward. So let's okay. This thing presses forward, attacking the dwarf, and okay. And once again, he just takes it on his shield. He's not even lashing out at these things anymore. He's just trying to clearly understand what's going on and
Did it
keeping his
provoke
guard up in all
attacks of
directions.
opportunity or no?
I'm sorry?
Did it provoke attacks of opportunity or no?
He did not. So there are only very few exceptions to this, but generally speaking, almost universally, if you just take a 5-foot step, which this guy did, just going from here to here, that 5-foot step does not provoke an attack of opportunity. So, all right. So he comes forward. That head darts out again. Except this time it's close enough. It's not covering any ground that both of its kind of front legs come up. One of them looks like a disembodied human leg. The other looks like maybe it once belonged to a deer or something like that. But both of them have decayed down to nearly bones, and so it kind of like rears up on them like some kind of insectoid and just slashes at the dwarf there with both of them as well. And his guard holds. One scores down the front of the shield. The other one hits him. Well, it looks like in the leg, but what's obviously a glancing blow and doesn't penetrate the armor that he's clearly wearing underneath his furs. So then the other one pivots to Shamara. And remind me your AC.
I have 18 AC.
Okay. So, it rears back again, striking scorpion-like towards your stomach with its skull. And that one you pretty easily deflect, having taken it once. You see it coming the second time. You deflect it. You don't necessarily anticipate the legs rising up simultaneously with the other one. Although, as it does, It raises one up and just darts it out too early and kind of overbalances itself. It kind of then sags to one side, has to scramble to keep its own balance, and in doing so provokes an attack of opportunity from you.
Yeah. Can I choose to power attack and attack of opportunity?
Yes.
I do that. Oh yeah, I was looking for my dice. That's funny.
All right. Let's see. 17. Ooh. 17 does not hit, just barely. Oh, did we lose range?
We lost Ranch's camera.
I'm coming back.
There you go. All right, so you just try to big, like heavy overhand swing, sacrificing a little bit of precision for power. But as unfortunately, that little bit of precision does cost you. As it staggers, you just barely, like you clip it kind of on the side of its skull, and what would have maybe taken that skull off the top of its spine just passes harmlessly by it. It does have one more attack, though. You said 18 AC?
Yeah.
Right, okay, and then, so, yeah. All right, so it just rains down attacks on you. You give back about as good as you get, which is to say not very well. And both of you guys just clash, slashing at each other. And you get this weird kind of tingling sensation as the energy that is the corona around that thing's skull just palpably touches your skin. And it's uncomfortable, but not certainly not damaging. Then it is this guy's turn. Or no, that's not. It's Shamara's turn. What are you doing?
Okay. This time I will take a normal attack.
Oh hell. Alright. Shamara, you back up. You guys readjust. You can take a pretty solid, measured side swing with your mace. The thing just backs up with surprising dexterity on those mismatched legs, and then comes darting back in at you. The dwarf here, still not understanding what's going on, just keeps his guard up, and then it's Ranch's turn.
All right, I'm going to swing at this creature right in front of me. I'm going to do a power attack.
Power attack. Right, big air. Go for it. All right, you swing, hitting it, but not doing much damage. You just crash your sword down and what would be right in the middle of it, but it's moving in such a way that it kind of there's a pair of spines that are sort of inexpertly fused together. They jostle your sword as it comes down, so you end up with the flat of it basically landing on the nest of bones and mismatched viscera that are the heart of this thing. It's impactful, but not damaging. Yeah, and you have a move action. Should have asked Shamar this as well, but you have a move action. You going to use it or stay here?
I'll stay my ground.
All right. Oops. All right. Then yes, they.
Can I use my movement action to carefully glance back over my shoulder at the storm without provoking an attack of opportunity?
Sure. That does not provoke an attack of opportunity, but you do see the storm closing in on you pretty quickly. It's noticeably larger than the last time you looked, right before you ran in.
I tap that dwarf's shoulder and point back at the storm.
Okay. I mean, you're still fighting, right? But you take a couple of shots, slash back at it, and then as the thing backs up, and you just have a second, you look over your shoulder and hey, without really looking at him, you can just jostle him to the side, but pointing over your shoulder with your shield arm.
Yeah.
You necessarily have to keep your attention forward on this thing, as of course it rushes in. The first one, so. Yeah, okay. What's up?
So has the next turn taken place? Did Shamara, but because she used her move action, but nothing has really taken place, correct?
Nothing's taken place. I mean, it is the next round.
Because, well, I forgot to invoke my rite of flanking right there. So I don't know if that +2.
Okay.
I don't know if that would change anything.
It would not have been a hit there, but that's a very good thing to point out. Yes.
Fair enough. That's my bad for forgetting.
No, not mine too. So, all right, good call though. So this thing though, as you're the one that hit it, it pivots to face you now, and you're gonna get all
Ben,
three
I'm
barrel.
taking up 4 squares, and I should be taking up 1.
You are technically taking up 1. We made your model bigger because you are bigger, but you occupy only 1 square. It's just the scale of the image. We can take that down though. That would probably be more realistic. Let's do that.
I'm happy to take up 4 squares, but
Yeah. All right. So let's
I mean, you'll have to give me large damage too if I do that.
and AC. But no, you are not. I'm gonna adjust the work down to match too. So, oh god. All right. Well, this is me learning. We're gonna keep him normal, just so they don't mess with him. All right. All right. So things are a little outside, but that's
It's
what
okay.
it is. No problem. Yeah. All right. So yes, the thing coming in at Orden there attacks him once with the bite. Your AC
17.
17. Okay. The head whips in. You take it on the shoulder, just kind of pivoting as you're on the as you're recovering from your own swing. Then, as its legs rear up, slashing forward at you, one of them manages to penetrate your armor just from the top. And you, okay, you take 3 damage as just like a jagged piece of rotting bone manages to pierce just under kind of the collar of your armor there, drawing some hot blood that trickles down under your or onto your skin. The next one actually, well, let's see what it does. Huh. Okay. Yep. All right there on Shamara. So the bite is easily evaded, and then as its 2 legs rear up, once again, the first one you're easily able to just take on your shield. The second one hits hard, slamming down just above your knee. You take 4 points of damage this time, as it just slams down, and it doesn't like pierce through your armor or anything, but it just deals a heavy blow and almost takes your leg out from under you. Just now, you don't. I don't want to know how many hit points you guys have, but you'll tell me when you're down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it is Shamara's turn.
We get a flanking bonus on the one Orden's attacking, then I attack that one.
Okay. Go for it. Make an attack roll.
Yep.
Is this a standard attack or a power attack?
This is a standard attack. God. I wish
So
I
you're
was...
slugging it out. I mean, you're in there just swinging wildly. Like, your shield keeps getting battered against you. You're hacking back and forth, swinging that mace for all you're worth. Occasionally you're making contact, mostly with the haft or with your elbow. And as that dwarf is just backing away, clearly, still trying to figure out what the hell is going on, you just step then partially in front of him. As you point, to the storm behind you, you just kind of step across him, swing at the one in front of Orden, and managing, again, just to kind of connect with the haft of your mace more than the head of it, and further jostle that creature in front of you. But at that point, the dwarf seems to kind of get it, and he turns, raising his axe to the one that's in front of Orden as well. And
We gotta get lucky, Matt.
he did.
Time to get lucky.
This time connects right at the base of that spine. His axe chops down into the thing. There's actually a palpable discharge of energy as he does. There's a kind of like a roiling, sort of, yeah, like energetic bubbling around the base of that thing, and then all three of you need to make reflex saves.
Oh. Yikes. Reflex. +1.
All right. So,
Nice roll, Matt.
all right. All right, and just as he leads right into the core of the thing, right, like at the base of the two spines, and as that energy roils around, you can all literally visibly see it dart down, coalesce right around the wound that this guy has just given to it. As he pulls his axe out, he kind of preemptively just goes, "Oh!" and raises his shield, not quite in time, as Gordon, you manage just reflexively to like spin away from it and kind of duck and turn your shoulder away. But Shamar, you're still looking at it when the thing just detonates. It's not a catastrophic explosion, but it is shocking, and it sprays viscera, some of which is sharp in all directions. So you take 8 points of damage, and Gordon, you take 4.
Okay. Well, I will use my orc ability to not go down today. This time.
Okay. All right.
8. But I would have gone down.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Shamar, I mean, you've just been beaten, bit, stabbed with the mismatched bones,
Wait.
and then
Wait.
you just,
Wait, 1 second. What is the, like, he just went and he goes after me and the creatures go before, I'm sorry, like, can we talk about the order of who's
yes.
going before?
So no problem. So you turned to attack the one in front of Gordon. Swung and missed. Then he goes. Then the dwarf goes.
And
Yep. Hits the thing. It detonated, which is what we're resolving right now. And then it'll be Orden's turn after this.
okay. I will not get to go before the creature goes. I think I have to go down or I might die.
Okay.
Otherwise.
You're an orc. It's a ferocity or no ferocity thing. So you just yes or no. Do you stay up?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Just blasted with this concussive wave, sprayed with gore, most of which is already decaying. Some shards of bone like lodge in your chest and the side of your face. But you just turn, shaking your head, dazed, seeing red, and keep your feet. So, is it that one? I'm just gonna add. There we go. That one's down. We'll mark it as defeated here. Okay. Oh, that's handy. Okay. And then, Orden, it's your turn. You just get sprayed by all that viscera and bone. You avoid the worst of it though, and then staggered, turn back around. What are you doing?
All right. I'm gonna move into the square. That'll provide an attack of opportunity, so I'll make my move action.
Okay. You should
right
be
next.
able to yourself.
Hold on.
I think. Let me.
Oh, how do I get rid of that?
Yeah, it should let you.
Yeah, I can move it. Do you see the grid on the map?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't want that.
You want me to take that off?
Yeah.
How do I? There it is. Okay. So you're stepping over the guy?
Yeah, I'm stepping over him.
There you go. All right. Yes, you do in fact provoke an attack of opportunity with that move. Your AC is what, 18? So you said
17.
17. All right. And that head darts out, and you feel it. You just reel back, and it snaps up at you, and it's about all it can do to reach you. And the top of the skull actually connects with your jaw, but just barely. Just the teeth snap right in front of you. You get a really uncomfortable and sort of maddening jolt of that archaic energy that surrounds its skull, as it just barely avoids doing damage to you. Still your turn. You've taken a move action, not a standard.
Yep. I'm gonna. Can I kick my sister away from this thing?
You would have to move to move her. You would have to move into her square and then go further.
Okay.
Which would also provoke an attack of opportunity against her
Yeah.
if this thing has any more.
Yeah.
3 seconds. What are you doing?
I'm gonna chop it off. I'm gonna just swing for the fences. Because I'm under pressure, so we're gonna power attack again. Okay.
When in doubt.
Got it lined up.
Get him. Bro.
Little dice. What's the color of the die?
We need new dice.
Yeah, it's this color, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, same stuff. All right. So yeah, you swing, just overhand, heavy, two-handed chop, and the thing skitters off to the side. Honestly, darting a little bit closer to Shamara there. So the other one's down. This one. Okay. It seems to collect energy from the other one, and as it does, you guys all have a sense, just viscerally, of the kind of stray voltage in the air as that last one had detonated, and then what's more, just the kind of strangely charged feeling of the storm, which is rapidly approaching, and even in the heat of the battle, you could feel the air consistently dropping degree after degree in temperature. It's very, very still right now, and you can hear a faint roar behind you as the storm approaches. This thing suddenly glows brighter, seems charged by perhaps the death of its comrade, perhaps the nature of what's in the air, perhaps something else entirely. And then you sense a sudden kind of coalescing of the energy, which it does not manage to control. It suddenly starts to boil over in exactly the same way the last one did, although this time not instantly. Shamara, your turn.
I disengage carefully, taking a step back.
Yes, I put that. Okay. One move.
Can I move my character? I thought I did earlier. Yep, there we go.
Sure.
And I do channel energy, which is actually something I've never done in Dungeons and Dragons before as a player. So, do I roll a d6 per person healed, or does everybody get off of the same? Just
you roll 1d6, and that is what everybody gets.
Okay. I'm actually gonna use my second movement action to move further away.
Okay. All right.
No, I don't know. I have to think like a half orc, which I've never done before. I'll heal right there. 1d6.
Suspense builds. 6. All right. So you and let's be clear, this is not a worship of a god thing. This is you channeling back into your lifelong connection to just a life, and you're tenacious clinging to it.
So roaring Shamara just kind of like reaches reaches her hand down and just like full hand like grabs the earth, and all living creatures in the area feel a sense of well-being and healing and get 6 hit points back.
All right, here you go. So
Which puts me at 1, and to my understanding, Orc Ferocity is like I use it and then like that's the use, right? It's not like a and then for a time I'm up. So I've now gone above 0 hit points, so if I go back down, I go down automatically?
correct.
Okay.
So yeah, all right. So just stumbling, right? Shamar does that, digs her hand into the dirt, just with a roar that yes infuses a furious sort of vitality into every living thing around. She wobbles back to her feet, looking very dazed and just on the edge of consciousness. The dwarf then turns around, like, and looks her full in the face before just tackling her. And it's so what is your combat maneuver defense there, Shamar?
It is super high. 15.
Okay. Yeah, all right. And he doesn't manage to tackle you because you're bigger than he is by quite a bit. But he just shoves you, basically. He's not big enough to fully cover you, although he is a lot broader than you are and very strong. And so he just shoves you, stumbling away, and then he himself just dives just a couple of feet and hits the ground away from that thing, as it's clearly very unstable. Orden, what are you doing?
How much of the remains of the other weird creature is left? Is it just is it gone, disintegrated, or?
Like 4 legs that are inexpertly joined at the center, but most of the center mass of it is violently dispersed around the area.
This guy tried to tackle me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Well, I'm gonna run.
Okay.
Just away. So I would like to go. I can go up to 20 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. So I would like to move right there.
Yeah, that's one move action. You do provoke an attack of opportunity, but it's apparently not in a position to use that. So.
And I'm gonna move 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is that possible? Yeah, it was 4. Yeah. Okay.
Alright. So you went there, and then well, you're a little.
I'll go right there.
Okay, that'll work. Either one. Okay. All right. So yeah, Orden just turns around and just starts sprinting as quickly as he can, fully armored, with pack and everything. Putting some distance between him and the thing, which, yes, then just a couple of seconds later detonates, much like its counterpart, spraying bone and viscera in all directions. But so yeah, you guys are far enough away that it's jarring for Shamara and presumably for this guy, but that's all it is. As he's face down, like prone in the dust, that stuff kind of sprays over him. Shamara's just kind of like just pulling herself up and then kind of like just staggering around, all bloody and covered with weird creature viscera. And then it's suddenly very quiet, except for the dull and increasing roar of the storm behind you. What are you doing?
All right, time to keep running.
Yeah, pass them up. Kind of point at the dwarf.
Yeah.
And then point back at the storm, and then kind of like put my hands over my head. Trying to signal shelter, and then run away from the storm.
Okay. You So my cat's just making cute sounds over here. I have a cat. He's adorable. And anyway, you okay? And Shamar, what are you doing?
Just I don't know. I guess I like just kind of tap him twice with my shield, and see if he does anything. Like,
yeah, gets up, picking up his own shield, and just simple, half moon battle axe, and he doesn't bother to brush himself off. And picking himself up, you can see that he was pretty severely wounded. Even must have been before this fight started. He's got blood that pretty much coats one leg, whether from an abdominal wound or a leg wound is difficult to say. But it's obvious when the dust kind of clings to it and it turns into a bloody sort of mud. And his face is pale.
You know what? I'm actually gonna channel energy again.
Okay.
But I didn't mean to interrupt your description, so please keep describing it. But I like look at his wound and I like reach back and like her hand, like she kind of like sifts through the dirt a little bit to like kind of try and like get at the earth and then heal us all again.
Okay. Go ahead, roll it out. Okay, that's 30 feet, right? 30 feet? Is that the range?
30 feet.
Okay. It's Orden as well.
Alright, great.
Ben, at this time, I'll either be pat or something, and I'm looking for shelter, looking for rocks, caves, anything that I can.
We are on a rise right now, I think, or like by a rise.
There's one nearby. Okay. So Ranch, make a perception check.
And heal 5 points real quick before you do anything else.
I've already done that.
All right, great.
All right, perception.
Okay. All right. So, as Orden hustles off, the dwarf gets kind of laboriously to his feet, and immediately Shamar, without saying anything else to him, just like looking at him urgently, reaches down, grabs another handful of dirt that she just squeezes and lets it like run through her fingers. There is another discharge, not audible but tangible to everyone there, and the dwarf steadies a little bit. He looks Shamara in the face, and for the first time, speaking in the common tongue, he says, "Well, I'm bloody fortunate. Can't imagine what I did to meet you out here. Where are you bound?"
Away from that.
Aye.
Trying to find shelter. Do you know of any?
I don't properly know where I am anymore. Been running for them for most of the day. There were dozens, and there are 100 more behind these.
From that way.
From that way. And he points off in, like this direction. You guys had initially been walking this way. But
there's a road right there.
Road. Good. Still obviously pained, but mobile. He hustles off.
Do you see anything, Orden?
At 16, that's your perception there, Orden?
That's correct.
Orden is just, a little ways away up at the top of that rise, scanning the horizon pretty urgently. Call that out to him.
See something? I know we don't need to head toward the storm, towards where those things are, so away from them. There is something on the hilltop, though. To the northwest. Can't quite make it out.
Had been going to the northwest initially, so would be back along the road, basically. Okay.
And then, y'all are welcome to join if you like. And then,
yeah.
Start.
Yeah.
Sure. Start. That's a lot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys, just get going, the dwarf here follows you. He's doesn't look like he's carrying too much. He doesn't have a pack or water skin or rations or anything obvious. Just some pretty filthy, torn up furs over what looks like a pretty solid set of armor. Although it's tough to see any detail about what that armor is under the outer layer. But yeah, he has a bald head, kind of a red, long red braided mustache on both sides, which is kind of for dwarven standard, comparatively short beard underneath that. But he gamely starts chugging away the same direction you guys are going, just trudging through the dust, kicking up big clouds of it in the preternaturally still air as the roar of that storm comes up from behind you. It's coming within the next couple of minutes. You guys get a strange smell, almost of like ozone, as it's bearing down on you. And you can hear just a constant thunder, which is turning to a roar as the thing obscures the entire sky behind you and bears down upon you in the kind of bizarrely still cold. Are you guys hustling? Are you outright running? Are you gonna just lay down and stargaze? What are you doing?
I would like to try running. I think if that thing is kind of ominous and scaring the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you guys start running. This guy starts as well. Both of you should make fortitude saves.
Look forward to having all these macros plugged in. Fortitude,
Right.
just at the touch.
Yep. I'll get there. All right. Well, the dwarf is chugging gamely along. Orden, you're making for that, building on the hilltop, I presume.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right. So you start to pull ahead. Shamara is lagging a little bit behind you. She's still running, but you're just very slowly outpacing her as you guys are getting closer to that. Are you going to slow down and wait for her, or are you going to try to just guide the way to shelter?
I'm gonna guide the way to shelter.
Okay. All right. You guys keep running, and the roar gets louder behind you, and then suddenly you are engulfed. The still air turns to just violence in all directions. It's almost like sensory deprivation as the sound just surrounds you, obscuring everything else. Wind whips you from all directions. It feels like simultaneously. You can hardly see your hand in front of your face.
Get close!
Just swallows you up.
Shit. I mean,
As you're
shit.
running. And, as it just overtakes you violently and suddenly. What are you doing? Are you gonna keep trying to just chug forward the direction you were going, trying to find each other? What are you doing?
Do I know the distance, roughly the distance of the of what I saw?
It was getting closer. You had, a minute or two to run toward it. So
Okay.
you did cover some ground. You're probably still pointed at it, but if you turned away from it, it would be anybody's guess to find it again. It was maybe a couple hundred yards away. Looks like just a big, solid stone and wood building on a hilltop.
I'm gonna
I keep
hunker
going
down.
in the same direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna hunker down best I can.
Okay.
Obviously, if I can't see very far, there's kind of up to luck right now. So I'll stay there for about a minute or so, and then if I don't...
I'll pause on the minute. I'll see that. So, Shamara, make a perception check.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The dwarf's pretty near you, and just visible still. It's mostly just a silhouette in the violently swirling, roaring darkness all around. It's tough to keep your eyes open. You end up squinting, and there's still dust and sort of silt getting blown into them all the time. But you manage to just lower your head and keep marching forward the direction you were going. He gets like kind of close to you, and then he's substantially shorter than you, but he just like reaches up and basically grabs your belt, just staying a step and an arm's length behind you, but holding on. He moves a little bit slower than you do, just shorter legs, but he keeps trudging the direction you were trudging.
I'll take a few more steps forward and then holler, Orden!
Okay, Orden, make a perception check.
And I try my damnedest to keep tabs on which way is forward.
Okay. All right. Over the roar of the storm, you just very faintly hear your sister's voice calling out.
Time out. I didn't do D20.
Oh.
So that's an automatic. I know. I was like, oh, sweet. And I was like, wait a second.
Good call. Thanks for the catch. All right. Try it again. The rolls tonight. Holy smokes, guys. All right. Shamara, you're just calling out into the storm. Orden, you're sitting there for like a minute. No idea. I mean, presumably Shamara's got to be searching for you. I mean, you know your sister, but you have no way to tell whether she's getting closer or further away. A minute goes by. What do you do?
In my mind, I'll tell myself, wait one more minute. If there's nothing, then I head forward in the direction. I still haven't changed my direct, like, of where I was going. I haven't shifted to left or right, so I'm going to wait one more minute. If I don't hear anything,
okay.
I'm not waiting anymore. I'm moving forward, so.
Okay. All right. Then I'm just going to say, to simplify this, there are going to be 3 more possibilities. As Shamara, I mean, you know you're close, right? I mean, he wasn't that far ahead of you. You were running too. You know the direction he was in, although obviously you lose all reference points when the storm comes in. And I know you're doing your best to get closer to him and just shouting, so the risk of ending the game very early here and having this just be a very simple test session, I will just be as above board as I can, so this is not up to me. To spot Orden, Shamara, somewhere in the next 3 rolls, you need to get a perception that is over 18. To hear her shouting, Orden, you will need to get a perception that is over 16. If neither of those things happens, then we have a tough conversation. So, 16 to Orden, 18 to Shamara. You're searching.
I like pat his arm. You don't see my brother?
Okay.
You be looking for him too, my friend.
As you like kind of pat his arm and you're shouting, you can hear the dwarf just picks up on what you're saying. He kind of looks just at you a couple of times, and as you say, Orden, he says, Orden! Just adding his voice to yours. All right, out the gate, brother and sister. All right, so just, terrified, not knowing who's where or what the hell is going on or where to go. Shamara, you see like just a figure down, basically like on one knee, hands planted to keep his orientation, and then at the same time you see him and you're shouting, Orden! You see like his head comes up and he keeps his hands fixed on the ground to maintain his orientation, but his head turns around, and Orden, you can just see a couple of silhouettes looming up through the violently swirling storm.
Oh, I knew you'd come, sis.
Hands on the earth, good call.
I'm gonna stand up and then kind of lift my hand up to get her hand.
Yeah.
While my other hand is on the ground, so hopefully she can like see that.
I'll just put my hand on your shoulder. Like I grab your hand and then I like pat your shoulder, and I like.
Once I feel that.
Like I'm like grabbing onto like whatever I can grab onto.
I stand up and then, as best I can, instead of looking forward, try and look at the ground. Right, like I know which direction I was going. Try my best to walk straight and hopefully,
crawl there.
hopefully, and I guess walking. I know that I want to be walking uphill at some point.
Mhm.
I don't. It's going to be hard for reference wise of when to know that is, but that'll be my. That's
Okay.
going to be what I'm going to be looking for.
It's a good one.
So I would say make a survival check. You can both make survival checks on this one, since you're obviously going to be both trying for the same thing. So go for that.
Eventually, I'm gonna get used to not looking for my die.
Right.
You said it at perception, yeah. Survival.
Survival. All right. So the both of you just slowly, methodically, one step at a time, use every mental device you've ever employed not to wander in a circle. But again, you don't have miles to cover. You have a couple hundred yards, and you just start to trudge forward. The fury of the wind increases. The dust is hitting you like a sandblaster. Both of you
Yikes.
need to make fortitude saves, as does your newfound companion. Look at that. Look at an old sound effect. That was cool. 20. Okay. All right. And the storm is beating you down, but all three of you just set your shoulders, duck your heads, and trudge through it. It hurts. It's exhausting. And Shamara is really, just hanging on anyway. But you guys trudge at what feels like an interminable distance forward until finally you come up to you get to a hill pretty clearly, which of course you take as a good sign. And as you make your labored, exhausted way up, trying not to gasp because it just puts more dust into your throat than anything else, you come into a place just for a moment of almost preternatural calm. Like the wind is still howling, the dust is still going all around you, and sand is still hitting the side of your face. And then just for a moment, as you come up to the top of the hill, you see a tall wooden stone, old-fashioned, very simply constructed building loom up out of the mist, or out of the dust, and you just get a look at it with lights of some kind burning in the windows in a small outbuilding, and then the dust crashes in again. The storm resumes. You can still see the silhouette of the building there. What are you doing?
Okay, so there's lights on. Do we go for the outbuilding?
Yeah, I'm going to be walking towards that.
Sure. All right, it's bigger than a house, right? Would certainly be out here in the country. It's obviously some type of larger establishment.
Oh.
So, clear from the picture. Credit here to LADL. There, photo credit at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you just trudge forward back through the swirling storm and the violent winds, and make your way to the building. What are you doing when you get there? There is a big, heavy, what looks like old oak door, iron bound.
Yeah, once I get there, I guess, I'm a pound on it first before opening up.
Okay. All right. You pound on it for a couple of moments, and then you can't really, with the wind and everything outside, you can't really hear what's going on in there. But there's a kind of like a scraping, scrambling sound, and then the door opens just like a crack, and you see a kind of confused and harried face of what looks like a angular featured human with bright white hair and kind of aquiline features. It looks out, and what it puts its face fully in front of the light that's coming from behind it, in what looks like a pretty comfortable, well-appointed room with a broad, roaring fireplace. Who's? Oh, come in. Wider.
Thank you.
You guys.
And then, enter the room.
How
All right.
fortunate are we to find you? And I like smirk back at the dwarf.
The three of you just kind of tumble into the room, and then the tall, angular figure pushes the door closed, like, both legs back against it, has to kind of like force it shut against the wind outside. And
Jeez.
you guys are deposited into a broad, cozy, wooden floored, well appointed common room with a broad stone fireplace. Far side, it's a long rectangular room, 4 or 5 rectangular tables spread out kind of irregularly around it. The sound, like your ears ring for a moment, they feel kind of like packed with cotton, just from the difference of like the roar outside to the quiet in here. And you look around, see the faces of 3 other patrons, it looks like, the travelers sitting at tables. And then across the room, just a small sort of L-shaped desk, no bar or anything, where there's what looks like a middle-aged, somewhat gaunt older woman who is peering at you curiously over a pair of spectacles. And as the door is forced shut and you guys like literally stagger into the room, the quiet is suddenly restored. There are no voices in here. All conversation seems to have ceased with the 3 of you coming in. And the old woman across the room, without changing her expression, says, "Well, welcome to the Starlight."
Thank you. Just like out of breath, dusting myself off, I guess.
So I know it's kind of a short one. It's around 9 o'clock here, though. I think that's a reasonable place to pause. Sorry with you guys. And you've survived the opening.
Out of the gate.
Dude, oh my gosh.
We'll touch and go there.
Charlie about went down.
Yeah.
And then if that thing had exploded, you would have gone down, and then the storm would. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. But hey, you guys made it, right? It was.
Dude, cannot wait for that XP. For missing every single swing. Dude, what was up the rolls, man?
I don't know. That RNG was not on your side.
Dude, brutal.
No, that was rough.
I need to refresh.
So, quick plug for anybody watching this. The Bonsai system does include its own experience calculator. There are a couple of principles that go with that. Obviously,
I'm actually gonna let them see my character sheet here as I put in the experience and stuff, so they can see what I'm.
So the things that we have designed our algorithm around for determining experience, of course, uses Pathfinder types of challenge rating for encounter level, and the idea is that you do get more experience based on the difficulty of encounter relative to your level, relative to the party's average level, and overall, we would think the players in the same party should tend over time to get around the same tower level. But there's a lot of nuance to that. We didn't want to penalize people for being in larger parties. We didn't want to create disincentives to bring in NPCs or other new characters. So there's a lot to it, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done to put that together. We're not going to get into all that right now, though. So for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my numbers here, and you guys are 1-1. Okay. So let's go all the way through it. So from the beginning, of you guys just starting out on the road and just going forward, of course, the first obvious thing to happen would be to see the storm, which is probably not worth experience on its own, but you guys taking off away from it, diverting to see, honestly, Branch, that's worth 25 narrative experience right there on the face of it, just for deciding to steer the action that way. Could have gone bad, but certainly worth a small thing there. For the fight itself, as you guys rushed in to aid that dwarf, each of you can take 235 martial or combat experience. again, quick plug, Bonsai system here. We have 3 types of experience. There is combat experience, there's narrative experience, and there's magical experience, which the players will use to purchase things in between sessions. We'll talk about that later.
That's why it's called bonsai, because we get to kind of form our character shape. You
Exactly.
said 225
Oh,
or
325.
325?
yeah. Okay, and then for getting the rest of the way to the the rest of the way to the Starlight, the inn here on the road that still exists somewhat anomalously in East Desperate
Lucky
Time.
us.
Each of you can take 150 narrative experience.
Narrative.
Right, so
It's
in
called
between
Starlight?
sessions, the Starlight, yes, that's the name of this little hilltop inn. From a kinder time when the stars were visible. But all right. So in between sessions, it's going to be very common for the players will usually reach out to the game master and say, hey, I know how much it costs to buy a attack bonus or a hit die or a skill point or whatever, and we award those based off of what the players did in the game. We'll probably not publish a lot of those because there's just a lot of back and forth, kind of horse trading and negotiation. But any upgrades that players get, of course, come from the story and are based on what they've done and what they've practiced and what they've worked with. So today's session, for example, would be a great justification for obviously plenty of combat stuff, maybe, hit points in the case of Shamara there, maybe, although just one fight, never know.
Fortitude
Points
saves.
survival, fortitude saves, points of perception, right? A lot of good stuff to draw from. And then first sessions are always a little bit too structured, I would say. But I'm looking forward to the next couple where you guys get to kind of take control of the story, aren't just, buffeted around quite literally by the winds of the story, and get to really take this over and tell the type of story you want to tell. So thanks for playing, guys.